I was listening to the story about, it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the Cowboy Man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
Father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse, trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hind quarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the dirty. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Paranormal Odyssey Live. Those of you that are here going to catch it with us live. Those of you that will watch it later, I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. As you can see, I will be flying solo tonight, other than my guest that I'll be bringing on here shortly. Lisa had some other stuff come up. She's working hard on that new movie that they're working on. She tells me that her schedule is going to lighten up, but I believe the beginning stages of every film are kind of hectic. So we'll get Lisa back on a full-time basis here coming up very soon. All right, excited about tonight's show. Been looking forward to this one for a while. Going to be bringing on Mr. Carter Buschardt here in just a minute, but before we get there, let's get all this cool stuff out of the way. If you have not done so already, if you are new to the show, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate that. If you've had an encounter, would like to come on and share it with me, I'd love to talk to you about that. Shoot me an email to wayne@paranormalworldproductions.com. Speaking of paranormalworldproductions.com, that is our website. Guys, head over there and check it out. Show some support, some love to the other shows. Not only this one, Paranormal Odyssey, but Sasquatch Odyssey, True Crime Odyssey, all of our new friends that we've been adding. Chad and Bob from the Basement Hangout. Spoiler alert, next week I will be going on their show. Got that set up, so going to go over there and do an interview with them, and then they're going to come over and do one with me. So have a tit for tat. Going to get both of us, both shows here pretty soon. And yeah, the Kentucky X-Files as well. Show us all those guys some love. We would appreciate it. All right, remind everyone about Manimal Research on Facebook. If you are not a member over there, I invite you to go and check it out. We would love to have you and come share some of your experiences and your beliefs and all that good stuff. One more. As I said, I got Mr. Carter Buschardt on. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Carter is someone that I've been watching for a little while. I really respect the work that he has been doing. He told me before he's been on Sasquatch Odyssey a couple times with Brian, so I get my shot with them tonight. But if you have any questions for Carter tonight, please feel free to send those my way, but please put those in all caps, especially when I am by myself. Caps just makes it a little bit easier for me to see. And as always, guys, if I don't ask the question, it's not on purpose. I just didn't see it. So if a little bit of time goes by and I don't ask it, type it out again, but make sure you do it in all caps. All right. See who we got in here tonight. Tea Time with Tiffany, as always. Thank you, ma'am. Moderator extraordinaire. Brian, Sasquatch Odyssey, what's up, buddy? Says the basement hangout and Kentucky X-Files rocks. I agree. What's up, buddy? There's Tea Time with Tiffany. Dude from Texas, what's up, buddy? He and I spoke a little bit earlier, and I don't know if he wanted me to do this, but I'm going to. But dude from Texas, I talked to him a little while ago. Earlier today, we spoke for a little bit, and he's going through a pretty tough time right now with some family issues and stuff, and he asked for more prayers, and he's going to get them from me, but I want to pass that along to you guys as well. Keep him in your thoughts. Not going to get into what's going on. That's nobody's business, but yeah, just thought I would throw that out there really, really quick. See, Miss Sandra Piper is in there as well. Thank you, Sandra. Can always count on you. All right, I'm just trying to think if there is anything else, anything I wanted to talk about. I don't think so. So I think what we'll do is just go ahead and bring on Carter. Whiskey with Cryptids. Michael just jumped in. What's up, buddy? Carter, how's it going, bud?
Awesomely. And I will continue to be awesome. I can't stand being not awesome. So
I get that.
Brian said hey on there, so tell Brian hey. I saw he said hey on there. So
no, you just did.
There you go. I saved you a trip.
How you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing good. You know, I did absolutely nothing today. I wrote 13 pages in the book I'm working on. So that's like a huge accomplishment for me. So yeah.
It's always a good day when you do nothing.
Yeah, I did nothing, but I wrote, and it was. I mean, I'm standing back and going, I actually kind of like that one. I'm my own worst critic. So
yeah.
Thank God for spell checks. All I have to say.
That's right. Carter, how long you been doing this crazy Bigfoot thing, and what got you started?
Well, I've been doing this. I'm with BFRO as of today. I've been with them since 2011, 12, somewhere in there. Researching a little bit before that, but I jumped in with both feet in 2012. I became an investigator with BFRO, and then it was very shortly thereafter I started running all the expeditions for them here in Missouri. They got rid of the guy that was running it, and I just understand they just got rid of him again, so he's gone for good. And so I've done 4 expeditions for BFRO, 3 in Missouri and 1 in Illinois. And I can't believe it's been 4 years, 2019. Oh, wow. It's gone by so quick. But that's, I've had 100 reports published to BFRO. That's not turned in, like actually published. So it's a pretty good chunk. And so, and while I was stockpiling these reports, I started getting people telling me, it went like this, I just did a interview with these people about a Sasquatch, a creature that doesn't exist. And then they're going to tell me, well, I've got something I got to tell you. You're going to think it's kind of weird. I'm going, okay, you're just told me about a relationship you have with Sasquatch, a creature that doesn't exist, and now you want to tell me something really weird? Bring it on, baby. Because, and that's when the paranormal quantum stuff started coming in. And I mean, it's coming in like crazy, and BFRO won't post anything like that whatsoever. They take it out of the reports. Everybody knows that. But I started compiling this stuff, and it was just getting, and I had my own event when I led my first expedition for BFRO in Missouri, 2012, 13, somewhere in there. I was watching one on a thermal camera, and it literally exploded and vanished right in front of me. I was looking at it, and it walked around a bend and don't think it knew we were there. And it took one step. On the second step, it was like a flash bulb just went off, and it was an explosion. It just, boom, It was gone. It just vanished. And I went, okay, well, I'm with the dumb ape only crowd, and I am going to turn in my membership, and I'm going to go join the dark side, because that stuff doesn't happen. You know, I wasn't stoned, I wasn't high, I wasn't drunk. My equipment's top of the line FLIR equipment, so there's no malfunction, no, oh, I'm just seeing things and having a bad day. I ate a bad tuna sandwich or anything like that. There's no excuses. And it went, I just said, I'm on the wrong side of this. No wonder nobody, you know, is getting anywhere, because these type of events that are happening are swept under the rug, because nobody wants to admit that there might be something else to them, you know. So that's what got me on the quantum paranormal supernatural train, and I'm there. I'm almost the conductor, not quite, but you know, it's turned into this incredible thing where people are coming out of the woodwork telling me stuff that nobody will talk to them about. You know, I mean, the really bizarre stuff where they're, you know, changing their vibrational frequency and walking through a tree and just disappearing, mind speak, mental imagery. I mean, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I didn't just happen to get in touch with all the crazy nutcases in the country. These are real people, everyday people like you and me, having these incredible events. And it keeps multiplying. Once a week, every 10 days, I get an email or a call from somebody. Hey, I saw you on a podcast. Can we talk? I got some stuff I got to tell you. Yeah, that's how it starts. And here I am 4 books later, or 3.5 books. I'm working on a 4th, and it's just mind-boggling. It's crazy. You know, well, I don't want to use the word crazy, but you know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah.
it's off the wall. It's Star Trek, you know, but in real life, it's bizarre. And I've had this stuff happen to me and with my wife. And so she saw it. She saw me a victim of the Sasquatch jacking with me. And so that took it to a whole nother level. So
your wife actually saw the event that you were just talking about?
Yeah. If you had another line of questioning, or I can just go into this, and
Go ahead.
it explains a lot. But I have a research area here in Missouri, down near Ellington, Missouri, and where I saw that Sasquatch disappear, that was at this conservation area, which has now become one of my prime research areas. And I always remember that area. So I've been back there probably a half a dozen times in the last 3 or 4 years, and there's always something going on. But you know, I do a lot of work here in the office, and I've got, you know, files and photos and videos, and my wife sees all that stuff on the desk, and she, you know, she's a sensitive, so she believes in the paranormal, but this was just like way too much for her. She's going, well, I'm glad you got a hobby and you got something to do. And I'm going, don't talk to me like that. You know, it's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle choice. It's a thing. It's a real thing. So I said, you know, I tell you what, why don't we go to one of my research areas, and I want to show you what I go through and what's going on. And she's an old Nebraska farm girl, so she's not afraid of getting her hands dirty and popping a squat if there's no bathroom. And you know, she'd pull a head off a chicken and, you know, cook them. And she's not a girly girl. So we went to my area. And where it is about a 100-yard ravine that you park at the top, and there's a gate there, a big gate, so nobody can drive through at all, because they got tired of rescuing people that got trapped. Really jagged and narrow, and even ATVs don't make it. So anyway, we park, and we've already set up tent. We're camping in another area, and I start walking down there. And as soon as we get there, you know, you get the heebie-jeebies. You know, you're in the presence of the forest people, the Sasquatch. You know, I'm in their living room. I'm in their area. And I get that. I feel it too, but I'm used to it. It's just something, you know, well, okay, there's something around. But, you know, so I'm walking down, and she's going, I'm done. I've had enough. This is too creepy and weird. I want to go home. But we're not going home. We can go back to the campsite, but we're not going back until we get down to where I want to take you. And, you know, she goes, no, I want to go back. I said, well, no, you can't, because I got the key. So anyway, we're walking down, and as we walk further and further, she's getting more and more creeped out. And I'm arguing with her gently. I said, look, there's nothing wrong here. What you're feeling is what I'm feeling. They're here. We're in their living room. They're here. They're watching us. I know it and feel it. And that's what you're feeling. Well, I don't like it. I want to just go. I believe you. Everything's, I said, no, look, the car's right up here. And I shine my light up where I had parked and the car's gone. I'm going, where's the car? And she's looking at it and she's going, what do you mean? Where's the car? It's right there. You're shining your light on it. I said, no, it's not there. Where'd it go? Am I getting turned around? What's going on? So I shine my light down where we were going, which is where that Sasquatch disappeared 2, 3 years before. And there's my car, where it's impossible for it to be down there at the bottom of this long ravine. And I said, how'd my car get there? She said, what do you mean your car? Your car's not there. It's up there. You just shined your light on it. I said, no, I didn't. I shined my light back up there and my car's gone. We go through this 4 or 5 times. And every time I say, what are you talking about? My car's not there. How did it get down there? She's going, your car is not down there. It's up there. We go through this for 5, 10, 15 minutes. And so finally I'm going, you guys are messing with me. The Sasquatch, with telepathy, hypnosis, whatever, were making me see my car where it was impossible for it to be. And my wife is freaking out because I'm shining my light down at the bottom of this ravine where we're going. And I'm seeing my car and she's like going bonkers. And so finally I go, you blankety blanks, you are messing with me. I came here to show my wife and you're showing me. I get it. I have been had. And I said, I shined my light back up where the car should have been. And there it was. I shined it back down where I saw it, where it couldn't have been. It wasn't there. And it probably never was. Well, it never was. So that right there, and that was just a couple, 2 or 3 years after I watched the one disappear. And so I was like, okay, well, there's more. It was even more to this than I thought, because you read about things, but they don't happen to you. So you go, well, that's pretty cool, but that's never happened to me. I don't know if it ever will, but it did. Almost everything that could happen to me has happened, or I've heard about it. But anyway, so that was the aha moment where I realized they can do whatever the hell they want with us if they choose to, And so that was like the greatest moment of all time up until my next great moment, which was 2019 or 2020. But anyway, so that's a Cliff Notes version of it, but it was hilarious. I wasn't laughing at the time, but I laugh now because I was going to show her and they showed me. It was just
that's amazing. I've never.
They flipped it on me. They just said, "I'll show you, Miss Smarty Pants, Mr. Researcher." Now, they did.
You said when you first got into it, you were, strictly biological. This was a flesh and blood creature, right?
Yeah, and it was really based more on the people I was hanging with.
Yeah.
Because, the guys that were running the show here in Missouri back then were diehard ape only. And if you believe anything else, you're the nut.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was the exact same way. You and I spoke briefly before we came on that I started my organization back in 2019, and you could not tell me anything other than this was a primate that had not been discovered yet in North America, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And I haven't had anything as, profound or amazing as what you just described, but the more people you talk to, man, and these people aren't making it up.
Oh, no. Yeah, they're not. And what you just said is a prime example of the guys that give you crap because you believe in, we'll call it paranormal, but the quantum physics part of it, and you think it's crap until it happens to you. Then all of a sudden you are changed overnight. Hallelujah. It's like you've been saved and you've been baptized because that's what it is. And you're adamant about your position, as I probably was until I saw that. I went, okay, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy. I'm not stoned. My equipment's fine. Everything, these guys are full of crap. And it's, and your opinion is your opinion. Your belief is your belief. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But if you become hateful and negative toward anybody that doesn't agree with you, That's what's wrong with Sasquatchery in general. I know you know that. There's
Yeah.
so much backstabbing. We might as well be politicians in our government, because we're turning on everybody and screwing everybody as bad as we can, because that's the way people want to be. The one. Everybody in this who's not a professional and open-minded, they want to be the one. And if you have something better or bigger than them, you
They
are a
put it
piece of
down.
crap. Yeah, you're a nut. You're worthless. And I got so much crap when I put this book out, the cover. Oh, that you are so irresponsible. How dare you? How could you put something like that? That's fake, and you know it. I mean, how it just all the hate and vitriol coming out. And so that's why we're getting nowhere, because we're fighting amongst ourselves. That's the perfect way to destroy any work you're getting done, is to fight.
And what you just said described it perfectly. We are fighting against ourselves. Everyone, it's like it's a race, and
Yeah,
it's a sprint. Everyone views it as who's going to get there first, who's going to prove that this exists first. And if someone puts out better evidence than you, it's fake.
yeah,
It has to be fake. But if you were the one that caused that evidence and put it out, how would you feel?
yeah. You wouldn't like
It's
it. And so that's the state of the union, and the government and science love watching all this, and they may be having a hand in some of this disinformation and garbage. You don't know.
yeah.
You don't know the extent. Well, maybe we do know the extent that the government and science will go to keep things quiet.
Yeah. You just I want to switch gears a little bit now, if that's all right, Carter.
Yeah. Okay.
You just showed the cover of your book, and you sent me some pictures before, and the pictures that were on there are a couple that we're going to talk about here in a second.
Yeah.
But before we get to yours, I want to get your opinion on something.
Yeah.
Did an episode last week, and I don't want to say it got heated because there weren't any like cuss words or name calling or anything like that, but there were there were some people in the audience that felt strongly about this picture that I'm about to show you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to pop it up, and I want to get your first reaction. Look at the size of that. It's a boulder. It's a boulder. And it's sitting on that tree. And there were some people in the audience that are researchers that I know, and they were just throwing mud all over this, saying that Bigfoot's not in this, that Bigfoot has nothing to do with this. Couple of them said that it was loggers, that loggers will do stuff like this to mess with people. And that's the only thing that kind of made sense to me at the time. Like a logger used heavy equipment to pick this, because this thing probably weighs a ton, maybe. Like a logger picked it up with some heavy equipment and sat it on this down tree just to mess with people. And I kind of bought that. But the more I thought about it, this is in a state park in Tennessee. They're not doing much logging in state parks. And the guy that took this picture, there's no machinery. There's no signs of any kind of machinery that's been in here. Have you ever seen anything like this, Carter?
Absolutely. I have a photo very similar to that, except the tree is still standing, and it rotted. It's a standing dead tree. And so there is a photo of a rock. It's about 300 or 400 pounds, just like that rock. It is sitting on top of this tree about 13 feet in the air.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of the woods, and it's in Illinois. And my research partner in Illinois sent it to me. I said, boy, I really like to use it, but he's going to use it in one of his books. But my point is, who could do that? And that logger story is a bunch of hooey, I think, because unless that boulder rolled down a hill or a mountain and came to rest there, which has to be on the list of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a pranker, I'm not going to do that if I'm not there to reap the benefits of my prank. In other words, you create that and then you leave. Well, that's going to be funny if somebody ever sees that. Why would you do something like that if you're not going to get the full result of your effort? That's my whole thing with pranking, So unless that has a natural explanation, which the only one would be rolling down naturally, you know, and that rock actually, that log looks rotted, so that may have been there for a good while, and
Yeah.
the tree is slowly deteriorating. But you show me anybody that wants to go to the kind of trouble, that baloney excuse you got of, you know, equipment, and we lifted it up and put it on here. Won't that be funny when somebody sees it?
Yeah.
Well, you're not there to reap the benefits of your prank. If I'm pranking somebody, I want to be sitting there hiding in the bushes going, I want to be there and say, I go, got him. I told you,
It's very possible that the person that did that was over in the bushes. I did that. It just wasn't a person,
Yeah, it wasn't a person. Yeah, exactly. So, that kind of excuse to me is kind of lame. You need to, come at it from a, methodical point of view. Okay, is there a hill over here? I don't know anything about the terrain. Is there a hill or a mountain where this could have rolled down and fortuitously or otherwise landed on that log? It looks, if it had that kind of momentum rolling down a hill, it bounced and bopped up there and landed just right there, I think it would have kept going. It just, you have to look at the physics of it, and it just that
Yeah.
look,
If you look at this picture, and pictures can be deceiving,
yeah.
it looks like it's going downhill. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
But and you're also right to where you would think if it did roll downhill, why would it stop there? Why wouldn't it have kept rolling?
Yeah, I mean, it just, physics and momentum and all that kind of stuff would say that might not have happened, because with a kind of momentum, let's say 1,500 to 2,000 pound object, inanimate, is got the momentum from coming down a hill or a mountain. It's not going to stop till it hits something. Now, if it had hit that tree at the base, then it would have stopped right there. It wouldn't have jumped up and only stayed right there. I mean, it would have had enough momentum to go over the tree. So I think that's placed there for whatever reason by whomever, but it's not a prank. I don't think it's a prank.
Obviously there's no way of telling, but just
there's no way, but logically,
how much that thing weighs.
Yeah, well, the tree picture that I have, I wish I'd seen you had that, because I could have sent that other picture, been a great comparison. Yeah. But the picture I have, the tree is 13 feet tall. Well, I only have a picture of about 6.5, 7 feet and above, because there's three guys posing for the picture at the bottom. They didn't want their faces in there. So their faces, they only took the picture from 7 feet up to where the rock was placed. That boulder that's on there is at least 350, 400 pounds. It's a good sized rock. It looks like it's about the size of that, but it's not thick. And that was placed. That didn't fall from anywhere.
In my opinion, something put that there. Whether it was machinery, whether it was Bigfoot, whether it was the world's strongest man, and three of them, which it had to have been, in my opinion, something put it there, in my opinion. And Craig's not on here tonight. I wish he was. He's the guy that took this picture. If I remember correctly, he said that he found this about 6 miles in. And that plays to the, like you suggested, you want to reap the benefits of your prank. Why do it 6 miles out in the middle of nowhere, where on the off chance that someone might see it one day?
Yeah, you do it in a parking lot, or right off the parking lot where the trailhead starts, and you walk through there, and after about 25, 30 feet, you see this big structure that's so complex it can't possibly have, be natural, that kind of thing,
In the same area, he found this trail. You see that print? Mm-hmm. He found several. He found like the words escaping me, but several prints.
Yeah, so that hand from the base of the palm to the tip of the finger is probably about 8.5 inches, maybe. So you got about maybe a 12-foot, 1-inch print.
Yeah,
give or take. Maybe 1 inch, 1 foot. I meant 1 foot.
If you'll look just below the toes, it looks like there's a break there, like a metatarsal break, like there's a building of dirt behind it where the arch was.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. So
Anyway, I
yeah,
just wanted to get your opinion on those before I
yeah.
get to your
I'm
pictures.
not buying the definition you got from whoever. I just you know.
In the heat of the moment, I was thinking, that's plausible. That's something that could have happened. But once the show was over and I was thinking, like, they don't do much logging in state parks. They try to preserve that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and they do. You know, here in Missouri, they do log in the Mark 20, but there's certain areas because it's a heavy
Oh, okay.
redwood forest here. So there are something because there's a lot of really, really big trees. When they get to be old growth and they're going to die and fall over, they have a program where
Yeah.
they say, okay, this tree can go in 2025. So they
Yeah.
have parts.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but a lot of cedar here. So those are big, heavy trees and very thick and strong. So they do log them here. But they're very meticulous about it. The Mark Twain National Forest here is, I forget, it's million acres, couple million. It's good size.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't miss a couple of trees.
All right. Let's get into some of these that you sent. In the book that you popped up, I'm just going to do those first. And the way Carter explained this to me, because this is what I asked him before we came on. I asked him what was special about this picture. I'm gonna have to go and cut the banner off. So
Yeah.
see it.
Well, the book cover, I think you have the book cover. You could probably use the book cover. It's got both photos, but I don't know if anybody could see it that well.
Yeah. Well, if you'll notice the timestamp, 15/12/36. So that's military time, obviously. So 3/12/36.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
Yeah.
Let's pop this up. So 15/12/36. Now we got 15/12/40. 4 seconds later. How do you explain that? And first of all, what the hell is up with those fingers? I'm sure that's not your fingers.
No, that's nobody's fingers I know.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's juvenile. And, I'm assuming it's a Sasquatch. It could be some other something which has been reported down where this was taken. But they have a lot of Sasquatch activity there, and they've seen other Sasquatch there. So we're going to go with the Sasquatch. It could be a deformity. It could be that it's a juvenile where its fingers have not elongated and reached maturity yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still kind of growing. But whatever it is, and I've done my due diligence as best I can. I'm not a photo expert, but I've checked every which way I can to make sure it hadn't been tampered with. I asked the gentleman whose camera it was on, who was the guy in the camo you just saw. That's the town preacher. And so look at his hands. That ain't it.
Yeah.
And so I've been to that property twice, and he never saw it. He never heard it. He never even sensed it. And like I was telling you, what he was out there doing, him and the owner of the property are good buddies, and he's the town preacher. So what they do is every couple of months, this day he happened to be by himself. And so what they do is go out. They have about 32, 35 cameras out there. They're all in triangular situations. So there's a group of 3 cameras strapped to trees, and one camera is facing the other camera. The other camera is facing the other camera, and the other camera is facing the one that was in the first place. So you've got to triangulate so you don't miss anything. So they go out every couple of months and they swap out batteries. They check the SD cards, swap them out with the empty ones, and get the photos off there, see if there's anything worth keeping. And lo and behold, they got this. So 4 seconds behind him. Now, in this photo here with the hand, you see the same shadowing below the hand, which is what you see in the picture of the preacher, although it's differently because the shading has been changed, because I think the Sasquatch bumped the camera, and it either materialized or it just bumped into the camera somehow without making any sound, because he did not see it or at all. But you can see in the upper right how the trees look like they're all kind of blowing and moving. Yeah. If you go back to the photo with the preacher in it, those trees are standing perfectly still. I think the creature bumped the camera And I'm going to go with what we theorize, although it's hard to believe, that it materialized and just ended up almost on top of the camera. It had nothing it could do to stop from bumping the camera. But you see the shading behind his legs. You see the horizontal tree that's felled and laying down. And you see that lump in the background there in the middle of the right. That is a blind. That's not another Sasquatch, as a lot of people have seen. Well, that's another Sasquatch right behind him. That's where the Sasquatch was. No, that is a blind that's about 4 feet off the ground. I've been there. They got a feeder just off to the right of that. You can't see. They got a feeder over there. And so what do you do with that? And when I put that on the cover, people crying foul. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever saw. That's fake. I've checked all the Google lensing, all the programs where you can detect any kind of manipulation. It comes up clean. I asked the preacher, I when everybody gives me a photo like this, I'll just ask them. I said, I'm going to put this in a book, maybe on a cover of a book, and I'm going to put my name on it. So I need to know, has this been manipulated? Has the chain of command of this photo been out of your possession at any time? No, Carter, it hadn't. It's not fake, and don't ask me again. That's what he told me. And so, okay, he was a town preacher, so he has a bit of, validity to that just because he's a preacher. Well, everybody goes, well, preachers lie. Look at Joel Osteen and all these guys that are just making money grabs and making billions of dollars off their parish and living in these, 14-bedroom mansions while preaching the virtues of Christianity. Yep. So, they're saying, well, preachers are like anybody else. They sin and they lie and they cheat and they steal like everybody else. Maybe not as often, but, so that was the logic in giving me a bunch of crap about that photo. But it is what it is. I can't find it to be manipulated with or created. I've gone through all the programs I can. I've had other people. And here's the kicker, which is what drove me to put it on the cover, was I had, like I said earlier, I've had 100 reports published to BFRO. I was contacted by this film company, and they were going to do a film on one of my reports that was in the same state as this one is. And so I had to call my witnesses and talk to them, and they got really, well, we want some money. We want something. We want some, our names, and we want. I'm going, that's not how this works. You've got an incredible story, because they had a habituation thing going on, and they just got really demanding and said, we want this, 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 and this, or we won't do it. I said, well, okay, there goes your 10 seconds of fame. I'll see you. So I called the production company back and said, hey, my people bailed out because they just got, like other people do. They just want everything because they think this is their 15 minutes of fame and they're going to milk it. So I said, but just so happens I just got and I really had just got this photo a few days before. And I said, I've got a report you'll never see in BFRO. Never, ever see it. I've got a picture that it's blowing my mind. I want you to take a look. And it's in the same state we're going. So if you look at this photo, you check it out with your crew. You're a professional production company. You take a look and you see if you can find any tampering. They called me back within the hour, said, we're on our way. We're coming down. So I called the owners. So either they saw the photo and just didn't even bother to check it. They saw it and went, oh my God, let's go. Or they did check it. And I don't think they wanted to put their name on something that's phony. So I think they did their due diligence to a degree at least. And they came down and we shot this pilot for a show that never got off the ground due to infighting with the production people. There was just a joke. But anyway, we filmed it. While we were there, the preacher said, Carter, I've got a picture somewhere. I know I've seen it of me walking. And I think that creature was about 10, 12 seconds behind me. Let me see if I can find it. So he looked and looked and looked. And this was the photo he gave, was the one, it was only 4 seconds. He said, well, my mistake, it was only 4 seconds behind me. I don't know how the hell that happened, because I didn't see it, hear it, or even sense it. And I'm pretty with it hunter. I hunt, to feed my family. Being the town preacher, his buddy allows him to hunt on the property and take whatever he takes to feed his family. You know, you can take whatever deer you take, they're yours. You can just, you know, clean up and do the proper disposal of, you know, innards and all that stuff. So, so that's what he does. It was take the food and feed his family, because, you know, the salary of a preacher in a small town, it ain't that great. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a little bitty place. I'll just tell you. But anyway,
We
so
got our first question. I'm gonna pop up here real quick.
sure.
For Miss Naomi Finn. If you can't answer this, that's fine. I'm sure she understands. I'm from Illinois. I'd love to know the general area where you research.
North America. No, I'm going to be a smartass. No, actually, you know, for BFRO, I do Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Now, my second book featured an event that happened in Illinois. I led a BFRO expedition in Illinois. So Illinois is also on my research area, because I have an area there that is incredibly psychic and creepy, weird. It's in the Trail of Tears. And so I don't know if you're familiar with the Trail of Tears, but the death march of the Native Americans from the East Coast to the west and then up to the reservations was horrible, horrible, horrible. So when I was scouting for the expedition in 2019, I went to this little town, Murfreesboro. I said, so where's a good place if I was wanting to maybe have an encounter with Bigfoot or Sasquatch? And they go, well, I'll tell you where you don't want to go, and that's this place here. There's some weird stuff going on there. Nobody in town will go anywhere near that, especially at night. It's just off limits. There's people are scared to death. They won't go anywhere near there. I said, well, that's where I'm going because you just sold it, baby. You know, and so that's where we went, and we had the time of our life. So, but you know, those 4 state areas, and I've been as far as Louisiana and researching. But I count Illinois because that's just 1 state over, and it's just the same. It's a 300-mile drive either way if I go north, south, east, or west. So Illinois is on my plate as well.
Okay, we got another one here. This one is from someone I'm not familiar with, Mr. Gene Templar. And since I'm not familiar with him, he probably came in late and didn't get that we ask everyone to put all questions in caps. So I almost missed you, but I caught it. He asked, could Sasquatch come in and out of our slower time realms, and could that explain how they move so fast?
Absolutely. And so they do not. We invented time. Time is one of the 4 dimensions, you know, depth, height, width, and time. And that is created by man. Animals don't wear watches. They don't know what time. They don't care what time it is. And so, yes, I believe that to be true. And I have I have a good example of it. And I'll tell it real quick. I am shown images by the Sasquatch, mostly at night as I'm meditating, trying to fall asleep and getting into that sleep zone. But I'm shown an area that I'm familiar with. It's either my research area in Illinois, which I think that's where it is, or the one that I was telling you about with my wife here in Missouri. But as I'm going, they show me, and I'm going down this thing. And as I'm going down, I'm going kind of slow, but the woods and everything is flying by me. But I know I'm going a certain speed, and it's going by me much, much faster than I'm actually moving. It could not pop. So their version of time, and they're, you know, if they're interdimensional, they can jack with time. And whether that is a result of them coming and going from interdimensional areas, or that is what they see and experience as far as time goes. You know, you don't see a Sasquatch going, well, you know, it's almost 6 o'clock. It's time for dinner. Well, the sun is up here and it's time to feed. We need to take the children back to the cave where we're living, and we're going to go hunt. And when the sun rises and sets, we will be starting and ending. And I mean, that's their version of time. So that question is actually pretty good because it matches. And I have another witness in in this book as well, where he is being shown a triangle with 3 planets in it, and he's going slowly, but things are blowing by him. He feels the sensation of moving at a certain speed like this, but shoo, shoo, shoo. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
When you see and experience that, it's incomprehensible. You go, I'm only moving at 5 miles an hour, but it looks like I'm doing 75. How does that work? Well,
Yeah.
their concept of time is different than ours. We have no idea, how to conceptualize that.
And Miss Naomi Finn, she said, I asked because she had an encounter back in the Quad Cities in Illinois.
Yeah, well, the two areas that I'm familiar with that have high activity is the Garden of the Gods, Murfreesboro, Hillsboro, Illinois. Those are very, very active areas. I'm not sure what the four Quad Cities are because I live in Missouri. So, but anyway, those three areas: Garden of the Gods, Hillsboro, Murfreesboro, especially the area of the Trail of Tears, is super psychic and super strange. A lot of quantum things are going on there that defy logical explanation as we know it. So, yeah, if you had an encounter there, you can contact me, you can email me, we can talk about it if you got questions you don't want to talk about here on the show. So, we'll get you the email stuff afterwards. But Illinois is a hot spot, especially the middle of the state down south. It's crazy.
Yeah, time is getting away from us on this one. It always does with great interviews. But I do want to get these other pictures up before we go.
Show the one with the face. That one. That is an awesome photo.
I've been waiting to get to hear what this was about.
Okay. I have a family here in Missouri. They're farmers and they make their living off of working farmers markets. And so they have big greenhouses that they make out of the very heavy duty sheet plastic that comes in rolls. It's like a Quonset hut. So they're arched over these bars, just like Quonset huts. And so here in Missouri, it gets very, very, very cold. So they have two of them next to each other. And in between the two outside on the ground are propane heaters. And they've got pipes going into each one. And so that creates condensation. It's warm, moist air, and it keeps all the vegetables from freezing in the winter. So that's where the water and everything you see is. This face print, and I have about 7 or 8 others. This is by far the best one. That picture is taken from outside looking into the greenhouse. That creature presses its face up against to look for the humans coming so it can eat the food and fall asleep in there. And so that was taken from the outside looking in. That creature pressed its face against the plastic on the inside of the greenhouse. You can see the eye sockets, obviously. You can see the nose, you see the 2 nostrils, you see the lips, you see the chin. If you look at it real close, and it's in this book, you can see the hair. I mean, I know, Wayne, you can look at it because you've got a copy. You can see the hair running off the face all around it. You can see I have no hair, so I'm very envious. But it is crazy awesome. And this creature right here got caught in there one night. It got caught. My guy wakes up, here's all this screaming and yelling going out in the woods. And he put lights on because something was stealing the food. So he put motion lights. Well, the lights went off. And he said, oh, I got to get up. I got to go out there and see who's stealing my food. So he goes out there with his phone. And he's walking out there. And all of a sudden he hears this god-awful loud scream and yell. Just coming from the woods on one side of his property. He keeps going toward the greenhouse. And he hears screaming and yelling coming from the other side, back behind the greenhouse. He's still going. He's just going, I'm going to catch this blankety blank guy. Then when he gets to the greenhouse, he hears screaming coming from inside the greenhouse. This Sasquatch got caught. It's a juvenile. They got caught inside the greenhouse. And I showed you the picture of that door. He opens the door, that door right there, and you see the handprint up on the left of it. He opens that door. That Sasquatch runs right by him.
Oh my God! Really?
A brush. He could have kissed him. It was like They were chest to chest because there's two big men trying to squeeze through that 32-inch door.
Wow.
These are God-fearing, great salt of the earth people. They have no desire or even knowledge how to fake this stuff. This isn't faked. This is real stuff that goes on in the forests of America all day, every day, and people just aren't talking about it because they don't want to get made fun of. That handprint up there, if you want to throw that other handprint photo I sent, that handprint is from the base of the palm to the edge of his fingers, about 7.5 inches. From the base of the palm to the top of the fingerprint is 11.5 inches. That handprint is also on the inside of the greenhouse. That picture is taken from outside. So he's not smudging that print because it's inside. So they put their hands up and they're looking through like, is the coast clear? And they were eating their food, and they've now worked it out. I told them, just tell them, stop stealing our food. This is how we make our money. This is how we make our living. You can take a little, but don't do that. So what he was doing was eating his fill of strawberries and radishes. He was eating the tops off of radishes. You could see where this creature was laying down and going to sleep at night after filling his belly, then getting up and leaving.
When was this, Carter?
This was last year. Growing season. It was a growing season last year, but toward the fall because it was getting cold.
You see, the skeptic in me, when I hear stuff like this, the skeptic in me always goes to, well, if you know something like this is going on, why haven't you set up a camera inside yet?
And they have done that. They're not, how do I be polite? They're not really sophisticated like that.
I gotcha.
And so I've offered to go down there, and due to somebody tampering with their property, knowing what's going on down there, they're trying to catch a glimpse and stuff and interfere. So we haven't done it. But they're just simple country farmer folk, and they don't have the time or the money to put a bunch of cameras together, because I was going to build a camera trap. I was going to design it and build it and take it down there and put it in. It may or may not have worked, but that's their idea of putting a camera up is putting a camera, one camera with not, just pop it up. It happens. So that's a good question, but that's my answer. It's frustrating me, but I can't interfere with their life that much. You know what I mean? This is their life, their livelihood, and they're fascinated with it.
I asked that question before I saw Al's question. Al Santariga, the Squatch Father himself. How do you know the creature is sleeping inside the greenhouse? What's up, Al?
Yeah, because of the 10 by 5 foot square matted grass. It's all matted down in one spot. That's how we know. That's how, they've told me, they've shown me the photos, and I've got about 5 or 6 other photos like that face print, but they're not as full, and they're different sizes, and they're all over. It's like in one photo, there's 3 or 4 faces all kind of pop, 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 pop. There's 4 faces looking. It's like the whole family goes in there and grabs what they want and then leaves.
Really?
Yeah, it's just, and they're just simple God-fearing people. I've known this family and members of their family for probably 10 years, because I was introduced to them by one of my original reports, a Class A, by a friend of mine. And they are, when I say God-fearing, 2 of them are preachers, part-time ministers. They're substitute ministers. They go to churches in these small rural towns that have no pastor for the moment, so they're there until they get a permanent, and then they go to somewhere else. They prefer to do their ministry that way. So these people are God-fearing, simple people. They don't have a deceitful bone in their body. Here's the thing. They don't want anything. They're sharing this because people just laugh at them, and some less than classy Bigfoot researchers are trying to weasel their way in and get photos and set up things. And I've warned them about this guy, and he's been busted a couple of times. I'm not going to name a name, but there's a guy running around here who is up to absolute no good, trying to get this stuff, put his name on it. So, but he's followed me and a couple other researchers around. When he sees reports published to BFRO, he goes, I'm going to call this one. That looks good. I'm going to call this one. And so that's another reason. But, again, I can't interfere in their lives to the point I'm just going to insert myself and bully and say, look, I need to come down there and set up a camera.
Right.
Your desire, they are living the life. They are just tickle pink that they have this activity. They're fascinated by it. And they're so
awesome.
happy. Why do I go down there and screw that up with, shoving cameras in there? That could screw the whole thing up.
Now, Carter, did you mention what state that's taking place? Or can you? Do you want to?
It's Missouri.
Yeah. Missouri. Okay.
Yeah, I won't be any more specific than that, but it's Missouri. Yeah. It's in the 4-state area, and they just call me because I know their great uncle, who's one of my original reports, one of the first reports I did for BFRO, when he had a Sasquatch staring at him, looking up at his blind. He was in a tree blind, and it was at the base of the tree. It was looking up, and they just had this stare down for a couple of minutes. It was crazy, But so I've known this family, and anywhere they go, they have activity. I've been out fishing, night fishing with them. I've been out, during the day, just doing research. And they're a magnet. They got stuff going on that and I think the Sasquatch people know that they are not wasteful hunters. They don't thrill kill. They don't trophy hunt. They don't just, go kill a buck and cut the head off and put it on the wall and just let the carcass rot. They use everything they take. They take food to feed their family. And I think the Sasquatches respect and appreciate that, because they're all about, not destroying the planet and don't just go killing stuff because you got a gun and a bow and arrow, that kind of stuff. So it's been an incredible 10-year relationship with this family, and they're not kooks or nuts, and they don't want any publicity. It just like the rock thing you showed me, that boulder on that tree. Well, if they're going to hoax, they want to see the fruits of their hoax. And of course, that face. But you look at that face, that is a Class A mass. That's not a human. That is, if you bought the book, you look at this, you'll go, oh, well, okay, that's something.
This is episodes like this, interviews like this is when I wish I had 2 or 3 hours that I could spend, because we've already gone an hour, and
I know.
I feel like there's so much more.
I'm a talker, and I hadn't even started. I'm good for like 2 hours.
Will you come back, Carter?
No, of course I will.
I mean, I understand. I give people that. I put that off.
I'll come back. Of course I will. I love talking about this. And if you're limited to an hour, we can just pick a couple of topics, and stick with it. And that way we've covered the ground. You can just start the show. We're going to talk about this and this. I got questions, and we'll take questions from the audience. We can do it however you want. But in my research, I'll be real quick. My research is all about habituation. I'm dealing strictly right now with habituation families that have been dealing with Sasquatch, living and interacting with their family for a year to 23 years. I have one family that's been going through this for 23 years. They got stories. It's mind-blowing, but it's habituation. They're living with these creatures, beings, day to day. They see them daily, weekly, monthly. They got a story. They got so many stories they forget to tell me, because it's an everyday event. If you saw Sasquatch once a week for a year, you forget to tell people.
Yeah.
Because I went to Walmart today. I went to Taco Bell and got the oil change. And I saw Sasquatch this morning too. It's that matter of fact with some of these people. And that's what I'm devoting my thing to, because more people need to read that people in the deep woods of America are having these relationships and events, and they ain't saying anything to anybody because ridicule and persecution. You're going to make fun of me and embarrass me, and I just won't talk about it.
When I started Manimal Research back in 2019, I said then, and I've said it several times since, I'll say it right now. That's my dream right there. I want to meet someone with a habituation. I want to meet someone close to me that I can gain that relationship with and that trust. And that's how I want to learn. I want to study. I want to know. I want an opportunity like that. And it just hasn't happened yet.
It will
But
blow your mind because I am monitoring right now let's see here, 9 families with
I can't get one.
habituation, day to day things from gifting, paranormal orbs, Sasquatch materializing in and outside the house, coming outside the house and materializing, coming into the house through the wall. You either believe it or you don't,
Yeah.
but these people are salt of the earth and they don't want anything. They're just going, I know you're not going to believe me. I said, talk to me. Let me be the guy who actually believes you and will come at you with realistic possibilities as to what you're experiencing. If we can't come up with a realistic reason for why you saw that, then you got something. And 9 times out of 10, they got stuff because I already know when I'm talking to them, I'm going, this lady's legit. This guy is on the ball.
Yeah.
And the stuff in the books is just, I'm talking to like corporate executives, military, soldiers, police, the copious note takers. They're, the people that are beyond reproach, and they don't want anything. They just want to get it off their chest and have someone to talk to that's going to show them some respect. That's all they want. And you can do that, Wayne. A lot of people can do that. You just have to have an open mind. You don't have to believe it. You just have to have an open mind and at least consider the possibility, find an answer to dispute it if you can. If you can't, you got your habituation with us. I've got 9 people, 9 families I'm monitoring now from 1 year to 23 years. 2 of them are brand new. They're going to be in this book I'm writing, this new one.
Carter, before we get out of here, tell everybody where they can find your stuff.
At the Kansas City County Jail. I have to go back there in about 20 minutes. No, my website is SQ. I'm a smart ass. I can't help it. My website, SQExplorer.com. SQExplorer.com. My email is SQExplorer@gmail.com. See how creative I was there? I melded all that together. Really
You
smart.
did it.
Yeah. So you can call, you can email me. I will return all emails. I'll talk to you if you want to got stuff you just want to say. If you want to buy the books, the prices are on the website. If you want to buy more than one, I'll give you a special deal. Just PM me or whatever. I'm real easy to get a hold of, and I do respond. If you contact me, I'll contact you back. I don't just blow it off.
Carter, I look forward to round 2. I will get with you right after this and see if we can't set something up. But buddy, I appreciate you taking the time and blowing all of our minds tonight. That was good stuff. And send me the links to all where people can get your books and all that stuff, and I'll put it in the show notes so everybody can find it.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Hope you have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will talk very soon.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for having me.
See you, bud. All right, guys. What do y'all think about Mr. Carter? How cool was that? Yeah, I saw Tea Time with Tiffany threw up there like Hardy. Yeah. A lot of you might not get that, but Tea Time Tiffany and I have been working on this little series that we've got on the Paranormal Odyssey podcast about the fictional Sasquatch habituation, and Hardy is the main character. So tonight's show really fit in. You guys if y'all haven't been checking that out, please go do so. Chapter 3 came out today. So you guys check that out. Let me know what you think. All right, everybody. Jordan was cooking dinner while I was on the show, so I got that waiting on me in there. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Guys, thank you so very much for hanging out with us tonight. Great questions, great interaction as always. I love you guys very much. Thank you for all that you do, all the continued support, and I will see you next week. Y'all be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I'll see you later.